The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests. If you're a sensitive snowflake that may get easily offended, then turn this off immediately. If you want to hear the real truth about the gun culture, then stick around. This is the Armed Citizen Podcast. What is going on, my Go Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast Live. This is episode number 207. Today is Tuesday, September 7th, 2021. We are live as always on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all of those awesome platforms. If you're out there in the chat, make sure you say something. We don't know that you're out there unless you do. If you're new to the channel, new to the show, go ahead and leave a comment. Like I said, tell us your first time. We'll try to pop that cherry. Let us know where you're from and all that. Welcome to the dark side. We cannot promise to make you any smarter. Hell, we just hope not to make you any dumber through this fiasco. If you'd like to call in, yes, you can call in or text into the show. Utilize a Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends Rod and Shelly Gates over at Aegis Gun Care. That phone number is 530-364-4678. If you're out there and a veteran, really anyone, especially if you're a veteran and you're in that dark hole, you're searching for that light and you're questioning, maybe is there a light out there at all? Please call me, text me, email me 24/7. I cannot give you medical advice, but I probably could be a decent ear to listen to, maybe talk you through some stuff. If you are looking for someone that can get you in the direction of medical help and all of that, remember two things. One, you are not alone. You have a lot of brothers and sisters out here that are willing to give you as much time and effort and help as you can get. And two, the world is a much better place with you in it. So please utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline, 1-800-273-8255. 1-800-273-8255 is the Veteran Crisis Hotline. Press 1. Press 1. We like to spotlight, as always, the United States Marine Corps. If you have any questions on what it takes to earn the title of United States Marine, please visit the website, marine.com. And as always, we are a proud member of the Defense Radio Network. It is a great website that has Pro Gun, Pro 2A, Pro Freedom podcasts all on one place. A lot of your favorite podcasts are probably already over there. So go check out selfdefenseradio.net. Now that I got all that out of the way, let's say hello to our buddies that are joining us tonight for a pretty fun conversation. I think we, crazy roboting. Is it still roboting? Can y'all hear me okay? Everything good?
It's fine now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Who knows? I don't know. Whatever. So I think it's the Big Sky. Is that where Montana's called, the Big Sky? Up there in Montana, we got the Rogue Banshee. What's up, man?
Hey, man. Oh, so it is Big Sky country up here in Montana.
Yeah.
It is a big sky. A lot of room in it.
It is a big sky. I would imagine so.
It
yeah.
is. A lot of room for our guns.
How crappy is it? I mean, nobody even wants the small skies. They suck. Why would anybody want the big sky?
This is true. Just saying. And that annoying little voice right down there is from the great state of Texas, the tactical virus Leprechaun himself. What's up, Clove?
I blame you for that crap, man.
I bet
it's all your fault. It's all your fault, man.
It's going to end up being my fault
thanks, bro.
somehow.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
I've been calling you that for about 3 years, but yeah, I guess eventually you're going to have to catch a virus eventually. So yeah, I'll take that on that one.
Exactly.
How you feeling? You feeling any better?
I have my days, my hours, my minutes. But yeah.
Well, good. Joson says his son lives in Bozeman and works at YC. What is YC? Road? You know what that is?
I was thinking Yellowstone, but I was wondering if you think about Yellowstone Club.
Don't Don't ask me. That's why I'm asking you. I don't know. Okay, it was as good now. It was pretty bad. I don't know. I have no idea. There's no telling with this internet connection. I run it off my phone. It is what it is. Hopefully we stay alive. So I don't know. So as always, we started doing this a couple months ago. We've always put out polls, and I think the polls are fun. But I started actually kind of reading them on the show. And so we put out 3 polls a week, usually a music one, some kind of a food one, and then a gun related one. So last week, the first one we put out has about 700 votes, and it says, what do you like best? I'm going to present this to you guys as well. What do you like best? Cookies, cake, ice cream, or pie? Rogue, if you had to choose one.
Ice cream.
Ice cream. I knew you were smart. I knew I liked you for some reason. The uber wealthy Yellowstone Club is what he says.
Yeah, that's where all the really, really rich people live, up on a ski resort up there.
Oh, right on. Okay, gotcha. Clover, if you had to choose one, cookies, cake, ice cream, or pie?
Pie.
This might be hard for you because you make a lot of pies at home.
It's pie. Yeah.
Hands down, no questions asked.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and I'm good at it.
Yeah. Mine's definitely ice cream, and I would say cake is second place. I'm not a big cookie guy, and I can't stand pie, so it is what it is. But the results are, like I said, 700 votes. Ice cream's kicking the crap out of everybody at 44%. Then you've got cookies and pie tied at 21%, and cake coming in last place at 13%. So I expected pie to be up there. I figured ice cream would win, but
So where does frozen yogurt fall on the scale with ice cream?
I think
I don't know if you have Sweet Frogs or not, right? But the place where you go in, they've got all the different flavored frozen yogurts, and then they got the topping bars that have literally cookies, cereal, anything and everything that you want to put on it.
Everything. Yeah.
Amazing places, and I used to gag at the thought of anything yogurt, right? But
oh yeah, same here.
It's I don't mind it.
Yeah. I cannot stand regular yogurt. My wife loves it. Can't do it. Just can't do it. Frozen yogurt, I'm in. And honestly, I would probably, for something like this, I'd probably put that under the ice cream category, because frozen yogurt, you kind of treat it like ice cream, right? So, I would say if I didn't eat ice cream, but I ate frozen yogurt, I probably would have voted for ice cream because I think it's kind of lumped in. Now, regular yogurt, I wouldn't put that with ice cream. Frozen yogurt, I probably would,
Maybe frozen custard as well.
Yep, sure, absolutely. Jesse out there says frozen yogurt is better than ice cream. I think some of it is. You have to understand that where I'm from and Clover's from, everyone's going to have their favorite ice creams. But until you've had Bluebell ice cream, you really don't know what you're missing. And there are some parts of Bluebell that are just truly incredible ice cream flavors, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My favorite is just very simple, and I can't find it up here. They don't sell it up here anymore. Just regular old original chocolate chip. Just nothing cookies and cream. Just regular old chocolate chip. Usually I'll go with the Great Divide now, which is half vanilla, half chocolate. Sometimes I'll go with what is it? The 3 colors.
Neapolitan.
Neapolitan. I was going to say Neosporin, but that ain't it. Neapolitan.
Something completely different.
Something completely different. That's a whole new category. But yeah, I'm a big. I don't like cookies and cream. I don't like the fancy stuff, Rocky Road and all that. I'm pretty simple. Give me chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, or chocolate chip. I'm good. Which
chocolate
my wife makes
pretty good.
Yeah, my wife makes her own ice cream, so I get really
in Arkansas and Texas. We don't really get enough snow to make our own ice cream, so
yeah, it's definitely we definitely have that cool advantage up here.
Yeah. Now, snow ice cream is good. We don't get a chance. And this past February, we got like 20 some odd inches of snow. And of course, I didn't go out and make snow ice cream, which is probably the only time in 10 years I'll get a chance to do that.
Now, what about homemade ice cream?
I mean, it's pretty good. No, oddball
summertime
stuff says he loves Neosporin ice cream. Hey, I hear you, bro. I hear you. What were you saying, Clove?
I said, what about homemade ice cream? Like legit, like from a machine that either you crank. When I was a kid, I don't know how many hours I spent cranking an ice cream machine, right? And then you get the electric ones or whatever. But oh my goodness, summertime is not summertime without homemade ice cream. And don't get me wrong, it's not Bluebell. But it's different, right? It's on a whole other level and in a whole other category for me. But it's wonderful.
Yeah, no doubt. CR42 Hunting Others, what's up? Matter of fact, I think I'm going to be on. He sent me a message this morning, invited me to be on his show tomorrow night at 7 Central. So if you guys want to go over to CR42 Hunting tomorrow at 7 Central, I think is what he said. I'll be hanging out with him for a little bit. Pretty cool. Looking forward to that one. Yeah, Bluebell. I mean, homemade ice cream is really, really good. Don't get me wrong. My wife just sends me a text from the living room. She obviously can hear me through the office door. Being from Okinawa, they don't have Bluebell. They have a blue seal ice cream. It's pretty good, but it ain't Bluebell. Homemade ice cream's good, but it ain't Bluebell. Just saying. It's good stuff.
See,
if you had to choose,
we have Blue Bunny.
Bleh.
I've had Blue Bunny before, and it's a poor man's Bluebell. I'm just saying.
Yep.
It's not bad. It's not bad, but it's not. If you've never had Bluebell, you're welcome. Go try it. As far as ice cream goes, Clove, what's your favorite flavor if you had to choose one?
Oh man. I really dig some chocolate almond.
Chocolate almond, interesting. I've never even seen that flavor. So
yeah, it's literally just envision. So just envision the chocolate ice cream, Bluebell chocolate. Yeah, with chopped up almonds in it, like literally. Yeah,
like the best chocolate Bluebell has is called a Dutch chocolate, I believe. Is it the Dutch chocolate or is it a different kind of chocolate?
Yeah,
man,
it's that, but it tastes to me like it is anyway, just with almonds cut up in it. So good stuff.
Rod out there says, I thought Bluebell was just hyped on me to Texas. It's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it is. Yeah. Now CR42 says mocha almond fudge Bluebell is great. You ever had that one?
I have not. I may have to try that. My only concern is that it has a coffee flavor to it.
So what are the yeah, I don't like coffee, so that probably doesn't help either.
Yeah. Butter pecan's one of my wife's favorites.
That's all people's favorites. So let's get that off the screen. I can't get that off the screen. I'm not real sure what's going on with that. I don't know. Something's going crazy, I think. Am I wrong? Can you hear me?
You're roboting, but yeah. He gone. His phone's updating.
That's good. We get to take over the channel now, right?
Yeah, and on the ice cream topic, all things, right?
I know, right? For me with ice cream, it's got to have fruit in it. I like vanilla with cherries in it. Right. And up here in Montana, we have a lot of cherries that get grown, and we also have a lot of huckleberries. So up here, huckleberry ice cream is a really big thing, and that is some good stuff.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
I
don't know. I have no idea. All right. So the next poll question is a musical thing. Very generic, very generic. What music genre is the best? Now, only put 4 out there. Obviously, there's a ton of genres, but I put rap, rock, country, and pop. So I'm going to start with Clover. If you had to choose one of those 4, rap, rock, country, or pop, what's your favorite music genre?
I would have to go rock.
Okay. Rock can encompass a lot of things,
I think so. Yeah. Southern rock, metal technically is
metal. Yeah.
It's there.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
yeah. Rogue, what about you?
Hands down rock. Absolutely.
Okay. Hands down rock. I would probably say of these 4 choices, I would say rock, but it would be maybe not what you thought. It wouldn't be like rock, like heavy rock and all that. I do like some heavy metal and all that, but it is what it is. Right now, with about 700 votes, rock is leading the way with 54%, rap at 22%, country at 20%, and pop at 4%. I was actually a little surprised to see country getting that many votes. I'm a huge country fan. Maybe not the newer stuff, but maybe some like 80s, 90s, and before, 70s, 80s, and 90s country. I like that a lot. But outside of the South, most people up north can't stand country. So I didn't think that would get 20%, but it get 20% of the vote.
And that's why country is different now than it used to be.
True. That's true. It is more pop now.
It is. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Unless you got like an Aaron Lewis in there, then you kind of got that rock cut over.
Yeah, but that's more of a crossover than
true. Yeah, that truly is. Yeah.
There's only one person that's come out in the last few years that I would pay money to go see, and that's Chris Stapleton. Chris Stapleton belongs back in the 70s. There was some guys in the last 10 years have been like Jamie Johnson and all that.
I was fixing to say Jamie Johnson. Yeah,
but he's been around for about 10 plus years. Chris Stapleton just came around a few years ago.
I'm okay with Zach Brown Band.
Zach Brown Band's been around for a while too. But since it's kind of been like pop stuff, Chris Stapleton reminds me of Jamie Johnson has a song called Between Jennings and Jones, and he truly is kind of between Jennings and Jones. But so is Chris Stapleton. Chris Stapleton reminds me of an old Waylon Jennings type of it, with just an amazing voice, though.
Right,
amazing voice. But I think Chris Stapleton's been around for a long time. He's just been writing music and finally got in front of the microphone. So, All right, and the last one is what we're going to be talking about tonight. And this came up with I was asked in one of my groups over on Facebook a simple question that I had never really thought of much about. And it said, hey, why do you buy guns? And I could give you some smart ass quick answer, but I started thinking about, why did I start buying guns? Why am I buying guns now? Is it different than when I bought my first gun, this, that, and the other? So the question is, what is the major reason for owning a firearm? And it's 732 votes. The options are self-protection, hunting, sport shooting, collecting, or fun. And Rogue, I want to go with you first. Of those choices, what's your major reason for owning firearms?
That's a tough one for me because each gun is a different purchase reason for me. I might buy this gun for protection, this one for fun, but I would have to say when I think of guns as a whole, I think of protection first.
Yeah. I don't think that's where a lot of people are, especially lately, the last few years. I think that's kind of where it is. Clover.
I don't at all think defense first. Not at all.
Yeah.
That is dead last, zero. That's a negative in on the scale.
You're
for me,
probably closer
almost
to collecting more than anything. Actually, yours is more of an other good deals.
That would be collecting though, to an extent.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think, collection investment. Currently, but you kind of caveated that by saying at any given time you morph and change and you have different reasons for different things. Rogue brought that up. But yeah, for years now, it's been the collection investment. But what's weird is you've got fun that's in that. And so the collection investment for me is fun. That's why I do it. And also the sports shooting and the hunting is fun. So it's like, it's almost all of the above except for defense.
Well, and that's not necessarily true either, because you do have guns that you've bought specifically for carry or defense. That's not your main priority in life, but you have bought guns.
That's true.
You would not have bought the 42 if it wasn't for carry, correct?
That is correct. I probably would not have bought that Beretta 84F.
That particular gun. There you go.
Yeah,
so,
probably. Well, no. Okay, the Beretta 84F.
That was a good deal. That was
a good deal. So that was secondary to the defensive thing. But you make a good point. I think with the 42, at the time I had the LCP, and that was a pretty good deal too. Of course, they had just come out, so it was about as good a deal as you're going to get on something brand new release. So being a good deal wasn't as priority on that, maybe, or as big of a thing. So that you may be right. That may be the one and only that falls into that defensive category. But hey, it's one.
Well, and here's the thing, and this is kind of, we're going to go down some holes here, but this would be a fun one to go down is, let's just assume that the 42 is your one and only that you bought with carry in mind. May not have been the actual reason, but you had it in mind. Hey, this would be a good carry gun, right? I wonder, because you have a lot of guns that you kind of rotate, but your main your main one that you carry probably 90% of the time is that 42. And I wonder subconsciously if that's the reason why you always seem to go back to carrying the 42 that was the one thing that you bought primarily for carry.
No. I can with 100% assurity tell you there is absolutely nothing subconscious going on with that 42. It is compact. It aims like a Glock. It shoots like a Glock. It is absolutely 100% freaking amazing. And so that's why I keep going back to it. It has nothing to do with, you know what I mean? I mean, maybe it does in the sense that it's perfect for what I purchased it to do, right? So in a roundabout way, okay, maybe, I guess you could say maybe, but again, it's not a subconscious thing because I'm fully aware of how awesome it is.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So let's kind of start this, and I want to go back. I want to start with Rogue because I want to ask this question to Clover, and I'm going to give him some time because it's going to take a while for him to go through the catalog. But Rogue, I'm going to say your very first firearm that you bought, not that dad, uncle, grandpa gave you, or they bought and handed it off to you or whatever, that you bought yourself. First of all, what was it? And do you remember why you bought it?
So I remember the day well. It was my 21st birthday. I went down to a gun dealer and I bought a Glock 17.
Okay.
And
great first buy, by the way.
What's that?
It's a great first gun.
It was a great first gun. That gun, I bought it mostly because I was just getting back into shooting. Most of the guns that we had in our family were getting old. I mean, we had, like we were shooting a Smith & Wesson Model 59, and I wanted to shoot something a little more modern. That 59 had been in our family, and it's the 9mm that was the first 9mm I shot. So I was just getting back into sports shooting, and I lived in Maryland, so concealed carry was just completely out of the question. You were not getting a concealed carry permit in Maryland.
Sure. Still on it for a lot of people.
Yeah. And the greatest thing about that gun was that was the gun that got me into competition shooting.
Okay. I can see that for sure. There's a lot of people. For the most of the time I shot a Glock 19 because I was in the CCP division of IDPA. A lot of 17s and a lot of 34s were in the full size division. And I think the 17 was by far, until the 34 came out, because the 34 was basically designed kind of for that purpose, to take over that 17 for competition. But before that, 17s ruled competition, IDPA stuff, no doubt.
Yeah, I started off, and the only reason why I started shooting competition was because in the box, or the Tupperware, was a pamphlet for GSSF. You know, I always thought about it'd be really cool to shoot IPSC, but IPSC was a little, I don't want to say scary, but a little intimidating for me at the time. And then I started shooting GSSF matches, and that built my confidence up to start shooting USPSA.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, that 17 was an awesome gun. I remember when I sold it. I was at FFL when I sold it. I kind of wish I had that gun back, but I know that gun so well that I still have the serial number for it memorized.
Yeah, no kidding. That's awesome.
And that gun did go to Texas.
There you go. Now Rob, just being Rob out there, says, "What about bagpipe music? I feel left out." Well, you are left out. I'm just saying. You and Ross Geller would probably be the only ones that would listen to that Spotify channel. And if you get that reference, then good for you.
A wee bit celebration. Is that what you're saying?
Wee bit of celebration, yes. Before we go to Clover and all that, I do want to say out there, I want to hear from you guys out there in the live chat. What was the first gun you bought, and what was the purpose? Defense Dad said that his first gun was the Ruger SR9 for self-defense. There you go. Foss says HKP 30 and 40 cal. It's my primary EDC. I'm assuming it means it's currently even still his primary EDC. I won't fault you for the 40. It is what it is, but no, I'm just kidding. Anything HK is going to be pretty damn good. Anything HK is pretty damn good. 223 says AC/DC had bagpipes in their band. So there you go. So let's hear guys from out there. First gun, what was the primary purpose for that first gun? Go to Clover, because you probably had 100 guns before you were eligible age-wise to buy your own. But do you remember the first gun that you actually went somewhere, did the 4473, bought it yourself, and do you know what the purpose of that purchase was?
So from a dealer.
From a dealer, yes.
What was the purpose for that? Because I'm embarrassed to even say what it was, but
oh, come on.
But it really wasn't a defensive thing. A Larson 9mm, like seriously.
Oh snap! Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. First one I ever bought from a dealer.
You could give me 1,000 guesses, and I wouldn't have come up with that one.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. And yeah, what was I thinking? Because I couldn't tell you at this point. I wasn't probably buying a Larson 9mm.
Deal. Maybe a good deal.
I mean, how do you not get a good deal on a Larson 9mm, right? I mean, retail was $88 or something.
You could get some bad deals for that,
right? I'm just saying they're not expensive.
I get it.
Especially weren't back then. It may not have been that much, but yeah.
And I know that you had guns prior to that, so it's not like I need a gun. I've only got $100. What can I do?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I bought it because I didn't have a 9mm at the time.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair.
That was probably my first 9mm.
And it was the cheapest 9mm you could find, probably.
Yeah, you think? Yeah. Yeah. This was before High Point. Understand? And I say this was before High Point. I don't know that this was before High Point.
Before you knew about High Point, how about that?
Possibly, yeah, because High Point's it was B. Miller before High Point and several other names, right? The High Point, the design has been around for a long time. And believe it or not, the Larson is a lot smaller frame and everything else than the High Point. So
it's a little uglier. If that's possible. If it's possible, it's actually a little bit uglier.
Yeah. And it's also heavier, but yeah.
Let's run through a little bit of these. Andrew says a Keltec. Buck says P226 and 40, now in 357 SIG. That's a smart man right there. If you're going to have a 40 cal, you might as well get the 357 SIG barrel and go town with it. Much better caliber. Carolina EDC's the PT-111. Gary out there says the Taurus TCP. I'm digging what 223 DMR says. First gun was a Savage 110 and 243. That actually might be one of not in 243, but the 110 might be something that's, I don't know. It's on the short list for sure. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Let's see. My first gun that I ever bought was a Winchester 3030. I got it the day after. For most people that know, I never really shot guns until I joined the Marine Corps and learned how to shoot in the Marine Corps and boot camp and all that. And had that aha, like, holy shit, this is great. Love it. Why haven't been doing this my whole life? It's kind of a thing. Love shooting the M16A2. Obviously, in 1994, wasn't going, because this was in the 90s, so I wasn't going down to the local gun shop and buying me an AR-15 because it just so happened they weren't available back then. Went down to the Walmart, and I think I bought a Winchester 3030 for like $120, $125, something like that at Walmart. You know, it was just one of those things. The reason why I bought that one is it was the only rifle that they had at Walmart that they had ammo for right then and there. I could have gotten a shotgun. They had plenty of shotgun, but a Winchester 3030. Yeah, Winchester 3030 was my first gun that I bought, first firearm that I bought, and still have it. It's up in the attic, and I think it's up in the attic. Pretty sure it is. But yeah, it was one of those that, and I kind of have a story like Rogue. The first handgun I ever bought was off a buddy, was an old Model 10. Bought it for like $150. And to this very day, it's one of the reasons why I don't like revolvers. Was kind of learned how to shoot handguns with the Beretta M9.
Unfounded.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. I never said I'd never give you the chance, but
you've got corrupt memories in your brain, bro. That's all I'm saying. That gun was much more awesome. You were uneducated at the time, and you were unable to understand how awesome the Smith & Wesson Model 10 is. That's what it boils down to.
I'm not doubting that. I will admit I was completely ignorant at the time about handguns. Once again, only one I ever shot was the M9. Okay.
It ain't an M9.
No, hell no, it's not. And similar to Rogue, I wish I still had it. You know, it's one of those things where I look back and say, what the hell was I thinking? You know, not because I liked it, but because it was the first handgun I bought. You know,
unlike both of you, I am absolutely 100% okay with getting rid of that Larson. Just saying.
Yeah, I hear you.
See, we had a little thing about the Beretta 92, because I lived in Maryland and we lived right by Aberdeen Proving Grounds, and the M9 was going through its trials at Aberdeen, and those guys coming off of Aberdeen, they were buying the 92 FSs, and
which is basically what the M9 is an FS.
It is, but those guys were saying that they would never take an M9, but they would buy a 92 FS because they were. That's where the cracked slides were coming, was from the M9s going through Aberdeen. Yeah, and that's when we found out that there's a difference between civilian and DoD grade.
This is correct. Ironically, I saw a post from Beretta. Was it today or yesterday? I can't remember, on Instagram. That the M9. Very last M9 out of the factory that was under the government contract went out today. So that's kind of sad, cool, whatever it is, nostalgic. It's all the above. But the last government M9 that was going to be shipped out to the military left I think it's in Tennessee. I think that's what it said. Left the factory in Tennessee today. So that's interesting.
Also, not that wasn't an inherent issue, because it was, but the ammunition you used was a major contributing factor as well. So keep that in mind.
True. This is true. I think that
By the way,
anytime,
same reason that Vietnam vets hated the M16 was
this is true.
primarily ammunition related issues, not the actual firearm itself.
A lot of the flaws that were happening with the jamming and all of that had a lot to do with the ammo, not the actual
You talk about
design.
you talk about DoD contracts. Everything goes to the lowest bidder, right?
Yeah, because that ammo was actually turning into, it was so dirty, it was turning into a glue in the M16s.
Yeah, it was. I've read some stuff on that, and that's when they almost just said scrub the entire project. They said this is not going to work. Let's start over. They're like, no. The design is good, and it took it a while for it to work itself out. But the M16 almost got scrubbed from the get go. Defense Dad, great question out there. Harder question is, what will be your last gun? I have no idea. Something that hasn't come out yet. I can guarantee you that.
So
chances are.
So I probably will never know what my last gun will be, because it'll be something that I probably I'm ordering on my deathbed or something. So it'll come in to the FFL after I'm dead and gone.
Afterwards. That's right.
Yeah. My family will have to go pick it up.
That's too tough. I mean, I'm assuming I'll be here for a little while. So, if I ever get like a Mod Deuce or a Mark 19 or something like that, I might quit buying guns at that point because I won't be able to afford anything else in life. But that might be the last gun if I was able to get one of those. But
so I can tell you several that it
$50,000 for one for sure.
I can tell you several that it won't be.
Okay, let's hear that. That's a great question. Go for it.
A Larson 9mm.
That's fair. That's fair. So let's go. We're going to transition to, because we obviously, like we've always talked about, is buying a gun for the first time versus now. Big evolution. Everyone's had that big evolution of why they purchased, where they're buying them now, and all that. But we talked about our first gun. And I know that there's probably no such thing as a gun that you hated. But do you remember, Rogue, your least favorite purchase, whether you still have it or not? It was one of those things that you almost regretted eventually buying.
So people are going to hate me on this one, and just hear me out. Okay. I bought, when I was in college, I bought an M1 Garand. Okay. And that gun was the bane of my existence for 20 years. It was the worst gun that I ever bought. It was an import. It got re-imported back in, and I had so many problems with it. I hated it. I wanted to get rid of it so many times, but I always wanted a Garand. And then over 20 years, I eventually found the one part that was screwing up the gun, and it was the op rod spring. And when I got that thing switched out, that gun is everything I had hoped it would be. But for 20 years, that was the gun that I just absolutely regretted buying.
Yeah. Interesting. 223, first handguns were a pair of black powder 44s. That's cool. That's really cool. Andrew out there says that he heard the M16s, the troops were told it didn't need cleaned. I don't know about that. Obviously, I wasn't around there. I have heard that as well. But one thing that you also have to remember that a lot of people don't take into consideration is the weather and climate in Vietnam. Very hot, extremely humid, and it rained. It's kind of like Florida, where it might not rain all day every day, but it's going to rain pretty much every day, at least for a little bit. And you can tell a person out there that's in the shit, make sure that you're cleaning your guns, make sure you take care of rust and all that. When you're out there, the last thing you're doing is worrying about rifle maintenance. Okay, let's be real. So they probably didn't clean them a lot. You have a lot of humidity, a lot of heating, cooling, rain thrown in there. The variables out in Vietnam are much different than they are in the desert, but both present equally treacherous conditions for rifles. The humidity, the dampness of Vietnam. Then you flip over to, you probably want to keep that lubed maybe a little bit more in those kind of situations where you go to the desert and you might not want to lube it hardly at all. Okay. You might just want to put a very little, because every little bit of lube or whatever on your BCG or whatever, the dirt and the sand that's in a desert, that's just going to attach right to that lube and it's going to screw everything up. So I would say that in the desert climate, you're probably going to do less lubing. You're going to have to clean the shit out of it every day, but you're going to put a little bit less lube on that. Where maybe in Vietnam, had they put maybe a little bit more lube, who knows? But I think the weather conditions, especially for Vietnam, were probably treacherous to when you first get this new design of a gun and all that. It's not sitting inside and, air controlled, buildings and all of that. You're talking about 100 degrees with 85, 90% humidity, and it rains every day. I don't care what kind of gun you have. That's not good. So let's just be real. Clover, Rogue, anything about maybe some of the early problems the M16 had? Maybe weather conditions? What do you think?
Yeah, I think if they had just used the products from Aegis Gun Care, they'd have probably been good to go, right?
This is true. Boom, boom. Very, very.
It's funny.
Very
I just put that in a chat.
I'm sure
But yeah,
Rod would love to hear that. But no, I mean, yeah, it's true actually. If Aegis was around back then not a problem.
Yeah, I've talked to several people that did a few tours over in the desert, and they got to the point where they ran them dry.
Almost have to. Almost have to. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sand just got in everything, and it was eating up those M9s.
Yep.
It was really rough on them. I mean, the M4s and stuff, it wasn't as bad, but I talked to a guy that his M9 when he went in versus when he came out. When he came out, went in, it was nice and tight. When he came out, it rattled.
Nope. A lot of them rattled. Let's be real. A lot of them rattled.
Oh,
They've got thousands of rounds through those things over the years. Defense Dad says, I'd really want a color cased hard 1911 and a 357 lever gun. Well, Defense Dad, you could have gotten one. Ask Buck. He found himself a really nice 357 lever gun at Wanamaker.
What a deal, too.
What a deal. He passed. I don't know why he passed up on it. I don't know why he passed on it.
I don't either. I mean, I think he has enough equity that he could have taken out a third mortgage.
At least he would have needed to.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he could have got
$35,000 gun. It was beautiful, but yeah, $35,000. Yeah, I think I'd like to eventually. A 357 lever would probably be something I could see myself into one day. Buck says Walther CCP, great gun. Gunpowder says a 380 Bursa Thunder Compact. Remington 710 is a big regret. Oh, this must be the regrets we're talking about, the Walther CCP. Really, I actually don't mind the CCP.
The completely crappy pistol?
Yeah, it's not terrible. I mean, I've shot a lot worse. I'll put it this way.
Yeah,
worse. From Walther, I've shot worse.
And I will say this, that 380 CCP. Is it the 380 CCP? Yeah, I don't remember.
No, you talking about the...
but they changed out and they come out with the 380 one, and it's actually pretty decent. Yeah,
the Bursa Thunder. I get why a 380 Bursa Thunder might be a regret, but it's a solid gun. I have a buddy of mine that's his everyday carry.
That was the most popular. That was the most popular concealed and carry for many, many years in a row.
Yeah. So Foss says the PK 380. That's So here's the thing. I've got that gun. I can see that. It shoots fine. Let me just say this. Ultimately, what you want is a good shooting gun, and it shoots fine. It's just it's a Walther slide and barrel on an Umarex frame. let's just be honest. You hold it, you look at it, and the very first thing I did a video on it, and the very first thing I said was, "This looks cheap." It was not what I expected from Walther. Had they put an Umarex or some of the brand on there, cool. But when you put Walther on there, I expect certain things, and that PK 380 was underwhelming. Now, when I shot it, it shot great. It's just the looks of it and holding it the very first time, very underwhelming. So I can. Mine is reliable, Foss. He says this is unreliable. Mine's reliable. Now that being said, I have only probably got a couple hundred rounds in that thing. Don't shoot it a whole lot. But I haven't had any issues with it. It's just, it is what it is.
Kind of looks and everything.
Cheap. It looks cheap for having a Walther stamp on it. Like I said, for having a Walther stamp, I expected a little bit more. And I've told them that, and they understood, and it is what it is. Defense Dad said the Ruger SR45, biggest regret. Love the SR9 so much I wanted the 45. Complete Jam-O-Matic. Sold it within 30 days. Now, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about the SR45, much about it. Have you guys had any experience? Is that something that is a common thing, or could have he just had a lemon? Have you guys know anything about the SR45?
From when I was in FFL, I had customers that got a few, a couple of them came through my log. And I would say it's about 50-50, whether they liked it or not.
They dislike it for specific reasons, or because of failures, or is it just
failures?
Okay, so that's a thing
of failures.
Okay, so that's the thing with the Ruger SR45. Okay, well that makes sense. I don't have any experience with it, so I wouldn't know. Yeah,
not a design. It's really not a design conducive to 45, and that's where you get into
based on the SR9. They just made it bigger for the 45. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and a lot of these, a lot of the complaints that, again, I mean, you go back to the M16 or you go back to whatever it is, and a lot of the complaints and a lot of the things is people produce things in calibers they probably shouldn't produce them in. But the thing is, the market drives that. We want this, we want this, we want this, and then people make it. And if you knew your stuff enough to understand things, you wouldn't beg companies. People would not beg companies to make things that are likely to not work out well, right? Or the company would just say, no, we're not going to do that. But then I know companies that have said that, and then they get backlash, right? You're not doing what the people want. Well, it's because they can't do it reliably. Why would they do it?
If they're going to put crap out there, then what's the point of putting crap? It is what it is.
Ruger's one of those companies that's big enough they can do that, right? They can operate. They can operate on.
Yeah, and they can also overcome one or two failures here and there. Smith & Wesson's had some big failures. They've overcome them. Yeah. Smaller companies, they're still trying to make that name. They can't get too risky,
Right. Yep.
Let's see here. Gary says the Taurus Spectrum, by far the worst gun I've ever owned. I've never even shot a Spectrum, but this sounds bad. I've never heard a good thing about the Spectrum from anyone, so apparently it's not very good.
They look cool. There's a variety of colors, and kind of like Sky, right? It's like they really hammered the market as far as the color schemes and stuff. But they lost something along the way.
Yeah, I trying to get this up to one ear.
I don't know. I've often wondered, and I've never had a Spectrum to be able to play with, but I do know that, like Galloway Precision, there are some places out there that there's certain springs and there's a lot of different things. I'm kind of wondering if the Spectrum wouldn't run a little better with some tweaking here, and there, and some other stuff. And it makes me wonder if it would actually be okay. And I think it probably would be, but for what you could pick up a Spectrum and then, if you're going to buy it new and then dump aftermarket parts and time into, I mean, you could go ahead and get something else that you ain't got to worry about, right?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Defense Dad says he sold that and bought a PPQ 45, and that gun is awesome. I have not shot the PPQ 45, but I've got a PPQ, and I will concur. I think anyone that has, whether you own one or not, if anyone's ever shot a Walther PPQ and you have a bad thing to say about it, I need to check your brain, because that That's one of the best design feeling. I mean, altogether, no matter if you've got a subcompact, the full size, whatever it is, the PPQ is a phenomenal firearm.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Maybe my favorite 9mm. Maybe.
See, my problem with the PPQ,
Top three for me.
It's totally looks. I just don't like how they cut the butt of the gun on the hand grip. It to me, it just kind of looks weird. Like they just chopped the back of the back strap off at the bottom there, because you kind of have that curve that comes down.
Oh, where the mag well is? You talking about where the mag well? Yeah, I see that. Yeah, no, I get
that's
that.
The only thing I can knock on that gun is just the look.
You know, and I would say that I have the subcompact. The subcompact is I got that because I like subcompacts. I like 4-inch, 4.5-inch, the most barrel length. That's just something that I like in guns in general. But I have gone from the 10-round flush magazine. I run it with the 15-round, and it gives me the full size PPQ grip now. Even though it's got the shorter barrel with that extended mag, it's basically the full size grip, and I think it's great. Ironically, on the extended mag one, they don't have that cut because it's a magazine. It's not the end of the frame. So I don't have that issue on mine. Now Clover has, I think, the full size, the 5-incher. Do they have that? Is it still cut like that on yours? Do you remember?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
but I run extendo mags though too. So
yeah. So it's not an issue for you. Yeah.
Not really.
So yeah, mine is a full size grip now with that 15-round mag. But it's flush because it's a magazine. It's not the frame, so it's flush. So, yeah, I get what you're saying though. And if I tell you what, if that's the only issue that you can come with the PPQ, then I think it's a pretty solid gun.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's why I said that is literally the only problem I have with that gun. Other than that,
yeah,
it's everything that you would think a Walther would be.
Yeah, yeah. Ironically, that was my first Walther. And it sold me on Walther. It sold me like 100% in on Walther. Now, Gary said he sold the Spectrum and the Bursa 380, traded him in when he got his Glock 42. Good trade. I would say 100% trading those in and getting you a 42, no doubt. No doubt. 42 is a great gun. Obviously, Clover would attest to that. I think that the Bursa Thunder 380 is a good gun. The Glock 42 is a much better 380 carry gun. And like I said, from what I've heard of the Spectrum, if you can get rid of it, get rid of it. Take a hit on it if you have to.
I mean, when a Glock 42 can spend 3 days under a foot of snow and still magned up, it's pretty good, right? All on steel at 15 yards magned up too. But yeah, pretty good. That Bursa Thunder. What sucks about the Bursa is that reverse that situation, right? With the Bursa or the Spectrum, I don't know, but the Bursa I can speak to. Because,
if you left the Spectrum outside for 3 days in the snow, you probably wouldn't have shot it.
Probably not, but the Bursa would be rusted up so bad that there's no way. Hammer fire, blah blah blah. Yeah, there's too many springs and internal stuff going on with that. I don't know that you'd be able to get the hammer drop on it.
Yep. Andrew says Commodore Spectrum was good, just hard to load. Takes like an hour. I don't know. Defense Dad says the PPQ I love almost as much as his HKs. Carry a PPQ SC a lot. I love my SC. Yeah, man, one of my favorite guns that I've ever shot. It's probably my favorite gun that I've ever shot as far as like 9mm that I don't own is the VP9.
And that Walther but the PPQ is really close, like feel and everything.
The trigger's better than the HK.
Possibly.
The feel of the HK is better.
Right.
But yeah, PPQ feels great. That VP9 is the best feeling gun I've ever had. I remember the very first time I held one, I was like, oh my God, that's how a gun's supposed to feel in your hand. Yeah, I love the VP9. HKs are great, but yeah, that PPQ is tough to beat. It's definitely top three. I mean, if I had to pick a top three 9mm, Canic, Glock 19, and PPQ, and you can put those pretty much in any order. And if you laid all three of those down on the table and said, close your eyes, you got to go take care of stuff, I didn't care. I would put my hand down, whatever I grabbed, I was going, and would feel 100% safe and not worry at all with either three of those guns. So absolutely, 100% love the PPQ. Let's see here. F&H says the Taurus Raging Bull and 22 LR is a terrible gun. It had a 10-pound trigger pull or close to it. There's a lot of things that have a 10-pound trigger, but for a 22 LR, I'm going to go to the expert over here. What do you know about the Raging Bull?
I don't know what he's talking about. A Raging Bull and 22
Taurus
LR.
Raging Bull and 22 LR.
What?
I don't know. May not be a thing. I don't know.
What? I don't know of a Taurus Raging Bull. A Raging Bull is a big bore. The Raging, I don't know. So I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what he's talking about.
F&H, if you're still out there, maybe
that's not a Raging Bull. So maybe he got rid of it and he doesn't remember what it is because he was traumatized so much. I don't know. But Raging Bull is like a large bore.
If he had a Raging Bull and was trying to put 22 LR, it might be why it had a terrible trigger.
Now the tracker, he may be thinking the Taurus tracker.
I don't know.
And my Taurus trackers are awesome, but I don't. He's talking about trigger pull, so he's got to be talking about the double action single trigger pull. And I don't shoot my. Very rarely do I shoot my revolvers in.
Yeah, he said he's probably off the model. It's been up forever. So,
okay, yeah, that would be the tracker then. It looks like so here's the deal. I'm not calling him a moron, obviously, because it looks exactly the same, right? The tracker and the Raging Bull, just one is rimfire and one's not really rimfire because they do make the tracker in 44 Magnum, but one's large bore, one's the 22s, yeah. So they look basically the same. But yeah, I mean, the trigger pull, the double action trigger pull on my trackers, and I've got several in various calibers. I've never measured it. I would say probably, but here's the thing: he's complaining about that. 10-pound on a double action trigger pull is actually about normal. It's actually about normal for a revolver double action trigger pull. So that's where you have
a bad trigger pull. Go buy yourself a Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 380. So what do you think about a 14-pound trigger pull, probably, or
a Thunderstruck 333?
Yeah, my God, holy geez, trigger pulls.
You literally have to have two fingers. They designed it that way, but you do. There's no way you can. You don't have enough strength in one finger to pull that thing. It's crazy. But yeah, a lot of people dig, and that's where you get into the semi-auto revolver thing. A lot of people dig on a revolver like that and go, oh, the trigger's horrible, 10 pounds. And it's like, it's a freaking revolver. It's double action. It's like, it's supposed to be. But learn how to stage it. That's where you learn how to stage a hammer, right? Or stage a trigger. And once you do that, 10 pounds is nothing. You can shoot double action with 10-pound trigger. Yep.
CR4200 says, think about getting a Glock 43 for my next EDC. Thoughts? Love the 43. If you're looking for some, I would say the 40 is a great gun. I think that the 43X or even the 48 for 9mm might be probably at this point a little bit better as far as capacity wise. But yeah, the 43 is a great gun.
I bet you could get a better deal on a 43, though.
I guarantee you get a better deal on a 43 right now. Yeah. No doubt. Yeah. No doubt. Especially right now, because everyone wants the X or the 48, So, yeah, 43 is a great gun. Tried and true. I've never heard anything bad about it. So, yeah, no doubt. Mondo out there says, is the PPQ good for somebody with larger hands? I wouldn't know. Yep. I've got little baby girly hands.
I do too, but I would still say yeah.
Yeah, I would say yes.
Because of the interchangeable back straps.
Yeah.
Rose probably got some big old hands. He's a big old boy.
Big hands.
Yeah, so PPQ feels good in your hands, right?
Yeah, I like the PPQ. I've handled several of them They've always impressed me.
I just wish they had the paddle mag release. That's my only complaint with the PPQ.
Yep.
But Walther gets that complaint on everything. Every new gun that comes out, people are ticked because there's not a paddle release.
Yep. PK380 had one. That was the only thing about that gun that was actually pretty good.
Yeah, my P22's got one. And you know, people complain about that, and while it is cool, the European style paddle release, it's not practical, really.
There's a reason why we went away from it. I mean, in
the
general,
button on the side is right there where your thumb's at, blah, blah, blah. It's just better.
Defense Dad says if either of his VP9s had the PPQ trigger, whoa, Nelly. I agree. Not that the VP9 trigger is bad at all, but the PPQ is better. But can you imagine? Good Lord. Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be great.
That's why we have multiple guns. It's like they're almost perfect. So we got to have something else.
That's right. There's no such thing. Well, there probably is, but there's really no such thing as a perfect gun. There's some stuff that's pretty close. You can go spend $20,000 on a gun, and it's not going to be perfect. CR42 says, thanks. Been looking at 365 too. Why do you prefer? I think he was talking to Gary. 365 is a good gun. I don't like SIGs. Personally, SIGs don't fit my hand. I think they're phenomenal firearms. I think they're engineered, they're designed, they're great across the board. I have never, aside from a 320, I've never, and maybe a 226 a little bit, but I've never really held a SIG and said, man, I feel so great. I got to have this gun. I'm
the direct opposite.
Yeah, they don't feel good in my hand because I have smaller hands. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the direct opposite. Like I came off of Glocks because of the ergonomics, and SIGs just fit my hand. You know, I went from that.
I like the way a Glock feels. I don't mind the pistol grip angle. You know, I really don't.
Yeah. Well, you see, for me, because I'm getting carpal tunnel in my hands, I gotta look for ergonomics, and that's what really took me over to SIG. And it was tough because I was going from a Glock 17 to a SIG 229, and that was tough getting used to, you know, single action, double action again. But yeah, just the ergonomics for SIG just work for me.
Yeah. 1%'s out there. Says howdy, folks. He must be channeling his inner Ellis. Howdy, folks. Outlaw Hatfield here coming at you. Foose out there says, am I the only one that never wants a Glock? Probably, but you're a CZ fanboy, so not everyone's perfect. I don't mind CZ. But like I said, Glock for me, I've never had a problem with Glock because it fits I like the way it feels, especially Gen 3s. I just say all my Glocks are Gen 3s, love them, but I don't have a problem with grip angles. It feels good in my hand. Canic is up there. Obviously, PPQs are great. VP9, best feeling gun in the world. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with SIG whatsoever. For me, it just doesn't feel good in my hand. And let's be honest, if I'm going to go spend money, you know, it sounds crazy, but if you don't like the way something looks or the way something feels in your hand, it doesn't matter how good of a gun it is. You're never going to shoot it as well as you could because you're always going to, in the back of your mind, some kind of negative thought, you know? So
see, I used to tell people that no matter what gun you want, the gun picks you. You don't pick the gun. You know, you may want this gun. It's great. It looks great. You put your hand on it and you're just going to go, that sucks.
Yeah.
And then you'll pick up a gun that you just never thought of and it just fits your hand and that's going to be your gun.
Yep. Born to be a shooter, Josh says, my favorite feeling handgun is a P226 Legion. The double action, single action, the Legion grips just make it feel amazing. I think Clover and I were talking last week, and I said, you know, we were talking about this, having the same SIG conversation, matter of fact. And I said, you know, maybe a 320, but if I probably were going to go and pick one, I'd probably go the 226 Legion. You know, that's probably the best SIG I've ever felt that's in my hand, of the SIGs. So yeah, I agree. Rich says his HK USP had the paddle release. It's easy to use. I think the paddle release is easy to use once you get used to it. But if you're someone who has always had the thumb release, the little button there by your thumb, and that's all you ever known, getting used to a paddle release might be a little bit different for a while. But yeah, once you get used to it, it'll be fine. It's a personal preference. Let's see here. And Foose is out there spreading vicious lies and rumors. He said the perfect guns is CZ Shadow. Okay. There's no such thing as a perfect gun, but it sure as hell wouldn't. That's just joking. I'm just being mean at this point. Not a big CZ guy. Once again, I own one. Good gun, great gun. Obviously, you can't argue with CZ's quality and reputation. Just don't feel good in my hands. It has nothing against anything about the trigger or anything. Just don't feel good.
There's something about that European style deep cut grip that a lot of people do not like. Right,
yep.
The CZ-ish grip, and I love it. I love it. If you shoot competition, and not even, and I'm not. We know Foose obviously shoots competition, and I'm not necessarily talking about his style of competition, but like precision, even years ago, like with precision bullseye competition, with a lot, it's all deep cuts in that grip, right? And that's just something if you shoot competitively in that nature, that's just something that you pick up and you get accustomed to and used to. I get how some people don't like it. I mean, I understand, but it's a proven, having your hand in that position and that sort of stuff is a proven method or technique or whatever you want to call it, for sure.
No doubt.
And there's good ones out there other than CZ that are identical to CZ.
Oh yeah. Well,
that's a very copied model.
Is and the 75 I think is most probably, aside from maybe the 1911, is probably the most copied design ever.
Oh yeah, Turkish everywhere, Italians everywhere, Israelis. Yeah. Yep.
Rich White says he wasn't here last week, but he got the Aegis gun care kit. Great little kit. Thanks. You're welcome. Thanks to Rod and Shelley for doing that as well. Those field kits are really, really cool kits. Really, really cool kits. Defense Dad says I had the Hogue grip sleeve. I'm a big fan of Hogue grip sleeves, by the way. But he added it to a 365 XL to fit. His P938 is his favorite SIG over his 365. Yeah, I like Hogue sleeves. I'll tell you something, guys out there. Not that the Hogue sleeves are expensive, but I will say if you can't seem to find one that was made for your model of gun, and you want a decent rubber grip sleeve that will do its job, go to Walmart or Target or wherever, Kmart or wherever you are that's your local place that will sell bicycles or something, and get a bicycle tire inner tube. Spend $3 on it. You can make 15 to 20 grip sleeves. You can cut it a little bit, fit it on there, get an X-Acto knife and cut it around edges, whatever. Then you flip it inside out, slap it onto your gun, and you've got a custom-made grip to fit any gun you want. Like I said, an X-Acto knife doesn't take hardly any time. Bicycle inner tube, you can probably make 10, 15 at least grip sleeves with one of those tubes. But yeah, that's a little trick of the trade. I do that on some of mine, and they actually feel pretty damn good. So I flip them inside out and they feel better. So it's up to you guys. Let's see here. Now, Clover out there is trying to get the shotgun talk going on. So if we want to talk shotguns, I got no problem with that. I got no problem. I want Clover to be happy because an unhappy Clover makes everybody unhappy. So, it's all about him. Let's see here. Mondo says, I have a Glock 40 and it's a perfect fit for the hand. Yeah, everyone's going to have a gun that feels great.
40's a little big for a lot of people. I would say for me, that's the same frame as the 20.
He was also saying that he's got big hands. He's looking for it. Does it BPQ? So probably wouldn't be for me.
But regardless though, here's the thing. I mean, and I'll admit that, that frame, a little bit big for me, but I shoot them so well, even though they're actually a little big for me. And I can take my 20, which other than really barrel length, not a whole lot of difference between the 20 and the 40. I can take my 20 and I can put a new shooter on it, or a new-ish shooter. Obviously, I'm not taking a brand new shooter and putting them on 10 millimeter, but I can take a new-ish shooter and put it, and they're driving nails with that thing. So it's not just me, right? It's like it's kind of an oversized, big, full grip, but for whatever reason, it works.
Sure. 223 says, will you use the G3, the Taurus G3 for an EDC? I wouldn't have any doubts that I could use it and be fine with it. Unfortunately, most of my handguns that I buy are carry guns. They're bought for the size. So I've probably got 6 or 7 of them at least. Maybe more than that are ahead of that gun as far as carry. Now, does it shoot great? Yeah, it's a good little gun. It feels good in the hand. But honestly, it's way down the list just for a specific carry gun. So, would I feel uncomfortable carrying it? No. Would I trust it carrying? Sure. But I carry it though? Probably not, just because I've got so many other carry guns that I enjoy carrying that are ahead of it. So, probably not. Domo arigato rabato says, CloverTech Goes recommendations on budget semi-automatic shotguns. Before I go to Clover, if you're looking for budget shotguns that I haven't had any issues with, look into the Rock Island VR series. Really good, solid shotguns. I've got a couple of those. I've got a bullpup and an AR style. If you like that kind of a style, Rock Island's got some decent ones. If you're talking about just regular, you can go find a Mossberg. You can go buy a Remington, but I'd say, the best probably budget, it's not semi-auto. If you're looking for a semi-auto, man, there's some Mossbergs out there that are really solid for good prices that I wouldn't steer away from at all. Clover, budget semi or Rogue. I mean, I'll go Rogue first. You've been kind of quiet. Semi-automatic shotguns.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I'm sorry, I've been Googling trying to remember what this is, but there's the Benelli clones that people are using in 3-gun now. I'm trying to figure out what it is. They're made by
the Turkish.
Yeah, they're the Turkish.
The Gerson MC312.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. But go ahead.
Yeah, but yeah, I'd go that route. Because I mean, they're pretty solid guns.
The MC312 Tactical is what you want to look at.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Besides that one, Clove, I mean, you're the one who brought up shotguns. So, anything else up there that you could talk about for?
Well, let's talk about that one for a minute, because here's the thing. I mean, the Benelli patents expired and they jumped on it, and I'm going to tell you what, man, that inertia recoil system and all on it that's the smoothest. I mean, I've shot Benellis and Berettas and anything and everything else, and that freaking Gerson is just as smooth and just as sweet shooting, man. It's just it's amazing. It's you shoot it and it's you're shooting a shotgun. Don't get me wrong, but Jesus, it's so smooth. It really is. Now, trying to think. I mean, going to something else would be, what's the little Remington, the little TAC? It's like a Shockwave, but it's a semi-auto.
Oh,
I can't even think now. The TAC 14 or the TAC something. Somebody out there in the chat for Roboto out there. Somebody in the chat's going to know, and they're going to put it out there, so it ain't a big deal. But yeah, one of the little Shockwave style. And then along those lines, if you're looking at something, if you're looking at something a little more premium, which he said budget, but Black Aces does a lot of great work too.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, if you're looking semi-auto,
budget, but it's not as bad as a Beretta or a Benelli. But yeah, it's not exactly budget though.
Yeah, but if
Yeah,
you're looking
no.
if you're looking semi-auto, I think Gerson's going to be where it's at.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Let's see here.
Semi-auto and budget. Sorry.
Yeah, Ramsey says a JTS MK12 AK shotgun. That's a lot of shit to spit out of your mouth there.
Right.
Yeah, the TAC 13 is the pump. I believe the TAC 14, I believe, is the semi-auto, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Rich says a TAC 13. I still think the TAC 13 is a pump shotgun, a pump action. I might be wrong. Because a shotgun, don't quote me. But I think that it's the 14. Let's see here. You see, Rich says, yep, 14. 13 is a pump. See, I'm not an idiot. Sometimes I just play one on TV, you know.
Right.
I just play one on TV. So I think I'm caught up finally. Holy hell, we're caught up.
And for home defense, worth mentioning, because I think he said for home defense, didn't he? So here's the
thing for home defense, because people get scared of that sound.
Well,
honestly,
it would be. And here's another thing. I mean, you're talking about with a pump, you're talking about potentially the ability to use mini shells, and you're not going to be able to do that in a semi-auto. And so, at the distances you're talking about with home use and being able to have added capacity by using mini shells, the pump might be something to look into over the semi-auto.
Well, there's a couple things. I'm more of a semi-auto guy. I get the idea of for self-defense. I get the idea pump. Just like I said, this sounds crazy, but the sound alone, you rack that, you're going to hear that, and they know it. No matter what they are, they know what that sound is.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, there's also
the universal
reasons. Yeah, that's I'm getting ready to light your shit up sound, Also, there might be some issues. Maybe it depends if it's grandma, someone that might have issues with the pump action, with strength. I don't know. I'm just saying I can see why maybe a semi would probably be better. But like I said, if you want a semi-automatic, don't let us talk you out of it. If you want a pump action, don't let us talk you out of it whatsoever.
Well, I would say this, because I don't know experience level or anything else, but if semi-auto is, I want to be able to get rounds off really quickly, I would suggest you go out and shoot some semi-automatic shotgun and see what it's like to really try to put rounds on target really quickly.
If for any reason that getting quick shots, repeated shots quickly, don't go shotgun. I'm going to be honest with you. Shotgun might not be the platform that you're looking for.
Yeah, and so I think as far as effectively utilizing a shotgun for home defense as fast as you can fire effectively, I think you could pump. You know what I mean? In between the time that you're coming back down on target, I don't think that's an issue. But that's my personal opinion on it.
The other thing with a pump is that you can use lower recoil shells.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely.
True. Yep.
Rich says the new Smith & Wesson semi-auto bullpup M&P shotgun is designed to use mini shells. I believe it's the only one that is. Yep. It's also not an affordable firearm.
Right.
So there's that.
And you could potentially, let's be clear about it. You could potentially, if you had a good gunsmith in your area or you were good at certain things, you could potentially modify something something else semi-auto that would be able to feed and utilize those. The problem that you're going to run into,
it's not budget at that point.
Well, you've taken a budget and then you've spent a little, extra money gunsmithing or doing stuff. But also, what I was going to say is you do that and you pretty much kill reliability you're not going to be able to run the heavier stuff, right? You're not going to be able to do it. So, and that potentially is problematic if you're talking about, and we don't know, maybe he's wanting a multi-purpose type thing, because that's something else you're looking at potentially with shotguns too. You could go a longer barrel shotgun that could be your field. People have protected their home with long Tom 30-inch barrel shotguns for a
hundreds of years.
very long time, and it still can be done today. Yeah, there's some maneuvering around corners and other things you're going to have to be mindful of, but you can do it. And so if you're talking about a situation like that, I mean, you're talking about varmints outside. You're talking about varmints in the house. You're talking about taking it bird hunting or sporting clay shooting, or then you've got that's one of the cool things about a shotgun is there's so many different things that a shotgun is truly the utilitarian firearm.
Yep. Domo arigato robato, doitoshimashite. I think that he is leaving this chat with a much more confused mind than when he entered the room. He likes his Mossberg 590.
I hear you.
That's mine. Love mine.
That may or may not. I'm working on a shotgun video, as a matter of fact, and my 590 may just make that list. Just saying.
Maybe just saying. Yeah, 590 is a great one.
Yeah, I've got the Mariner.
Time with the Benelli semi-auto was so sweet, expensive, and a longer barrel than 18.5 inches. Like you said, there's been some 30-inch shotguns that have ruled this wild west territory for a long time.
I guarantee you. 30, 32, 36 inch long tom.
It was home defense. It was hunting. It was anything and everything.
I've tried to think the longest barreled shotgun I've got. I think I've got a 30, either it's 36 or 38 inch. And I'm gonna tell you what.
You said 38 inch?
Yeah, it's a 36 or 38. Yeah, it's a long tom, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah, anything over about 30 inches, 32 inches. Considered a long. I know, but by the time you get the buttstock on and everything, right? But I'm gonna tell you what.
Can you even see the front bead?
That dude's tough, man. You don't have to, man. You go goose hunting with that. You just reach up and knock them out of the sky. It's all good.
Lord. Defense Dad says, I'm half tempted to get a Rock Island just to try my hand at modifying the loading port. It's less than $200, so I mess up, I won't cry. Hey, that's fair.
Mm-hmm. Right.
G23 says KSG for the win. Go away.
You can find one at a decent price. You get back into budget.
Yeah. He says almost got a Mossberg 500 3-in-1 combo because of versatility. Yeah, the 500 is another great. I mean,
yeah.
Mossberg. I'm telling you, man, Mossberg put some good stuff out there. That 500 is one of those that I would say that's probably the most iconic Mossberg aside from the Maverick. Honestly.
Well, it's more iconic than the Maverick because it came first.
I think most people know about the Maverick because was it so cheap and it sold so many. But I think that might be their best shotgun. I mean, honestly, just overall their best shotgun.
So the Mossberg 500, the 500 is the Mossberg with the what the 870 is to Remington. And the world is divided into two types of people, the Mossberg 500 people and the Remington 870 people. Now, I just happen to be a 500 guy.
I'm a 500 guy also, but here's the thing real quick, because I will forget, Rogue. I'm sorry, I'm not very smart. The difference between like the Glock CZ or the Glock SIG or the Glock whatever thing, the difference between that and the Mossberg and the Remington 870 is even though I'm a 500, I still have respect for what the 870 is. And I think most Remington guys have respect for what the 500 is. They prefer one or the other, but there's not hatred towards the other in that realm.
And we'll own them, right? Like 870s. Absolutely. I mean, when you get into the Wingmasters, when you get into the old trench warfare and you get into some of the old prison shotguns and some of the things like that. The 870s are, I mean, I'm not going to turn down an 870 for sure. But at heart, I'm a Mossberg guy.
Same here.
See, at heart, I'm an 870 guy because that was my first shotgun as an 870 Wingmaster. But I will tell you, that I am an 870 pre-1980. Post-1980, Mossberg 500.
Yes. Yeah.
Is that more because of the stock issues with the 870s? Is that when they went to the plastic stock and all that?
Yeah, well, no, that's because the reliability of the 870, Remington just ran that shotgun into the ground. They had so many quality problems with the 870 afterwards that's where Mossberg kind of they just took off because they didn't screw the quality of the shotgun up.
Yeah. 223 Clover says you need a 7.5 Magnum waterfowl Widowmaker.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do. G23 says budget is a very tricky thing. Your opinion and mine could be, and that's the whole thing. That's why I hate the word budget, because my budget firearm is going to be much different than Donald Trump Jr.'s budget firearm. It's all a relative term to what your budget is. And I think that budget, and this is why our good friend Budget changed his channel name. I think the word budget gets lapped into cheaply made or not good. There is a lot of budget friendly firearms that are phenomenal firearms. I would be willing to bet, knowing Clover like I do, he would put the Gerson line of firearms, which the average price is going to be half of what they're clones of, roughly. I'd be willing to bet that he would put anything that Gerson that he's shot up against anything at this point. And those are budget-friendly firearms, you know?
Yep. No matter what it is. Yeah.
Sure. But yeah, the budget, that word budget is one of those tricky ones. It's just one of those.
But they're still not cheap. I mean, that MC312 we're talking about, right? Like, so that's the cheap versus budget, right? So are you talking about a $300 shotgun? Because their Gerson, their Gerson is basically an exact copy of a Benelli, which is $1,500 bucks plus for $600, but it's still $600, not $300. Right?
That's what I'm saying. It's half of what it's cloned of.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to clone a Benelli anything. It's going to be an expensive clone regardless, but it's half of what the Benelli is and still functions just as well. And sometimes you'll say that sometimes even like the Regard, you'll say it's probably actually better than 92 because they figured out what was wrong with the 92 and fixed it.
Yeah.
You know,
now, not budget, but since we're on the shotguns, you remember the Berettas we shot at SHOT Show, the Beretta 1301s? And I don't know what MSRP or anything else are on those shotguns, but those are phenomenal shotguns. I was putting slugs on steel at what, 75 yards, just
at least,
ding. Remember that? Those are phenomenal shotguns.
I don't remember what it was in Terry's a year or two or one, I can't remember when it was, when they had like the trap field set up, and we were talking with Mikulik up there, and you went and shot trap with a shot. I don't remember what it was, but I remember you leaving and saying that shotgun was damn good, but I don't know what that was. You remember what it was?
Yeah, I absolutely do. It's a JM 940.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay. So no reason. Yeah. No.
Right.
You always say, damn, that's nice. I didn't know what it was. So that's not a budget shotgun. No. Rich says British shotguns are awesome. Yeah, I think that it sounds crazy to me. Beretta's going to be, for the most part, on average, a nice Beretta shotgun is going to be on average probably $200 to $300 cheaper than a Benelli. They're going to be very, very good. What's that?
I would say so. I would agree with that.
Yeah. And I would say that generally speaking, a Beretta shotgun is going to be just, it's going to be serviceable. It's going to be a very, very good shotgun. So I would say that if you had to choose between a Beretta and a Benelli, would you rather spend an extra $300 to have the name Benelli, or a $300 shotgun that's less and still having a very awesome shotgun with Beretta? I don't know. That's up to you, you know?
I think the Benelli action is smoother.
Does it?
Yeah, I would agree too. I would agree that Benelli's a little smoother, but also Beretta
is it worth $300 more, do you think?
Depends on what you're doing.
Yeah, totally.
If you're going to spend $1,000 for a shotgun, what's an extra $300 or so, you know?
You know, most new shotgun owners are never going to know the difference between the smoother action of a Benelli over a Beretta.
Sure. I wouldn't. Honestly, I wouldn't.
This is true. Yep.
Holy hell. Our bud Tim Knight's out there. What's up, Tim? He says, I like shotguns. Yum.
Yep.
Yeah. I hadn't seen Tim in a while. I had to give him a call. I hope you're around the next few days. I'm going to give you a shout. Catch up. I haven't talked to you in a while. Rich says, does Beretta own Benelli? I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think so.
They do. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that would make sense as to why the Berettas will be a few $100s cheaper. It's that the Benelli's probably their Cadillac line.
Yeah, that's just like Beretta owns Seiko as well.
Yep. I knew that. I just didn't know they owned Benelli.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
It's not Sacco. It's Seiko.
I've always said Seiko, but it could be Sacco.
Seiko.
Defense that if John Wick had a shot of Beretta instead of a Benelli, more people wouldn't own one.
Would want one.
Would want one. The guys that are out that shoot 3-4 days a week skeet and trap at the gun club, there are a lot of different ones, but I would say the vast majority are either Beretta or Benelli, and they're the ones that do the competition and all that. So if I had to sit there and say the ones that I see the most, the guys that take it pretty seriously, it's one of the two. Are there other ones out there? I'm sure there are, but the ones that I've personally seen, the guys that take it real seriously, Beretta, Benelli, and I've never heard either one of them talk bad about their shotguns. So, yeah. All right. Is that enough shotgun talk for you there, Clove? Are you feeling better about yourself now?
I think so.
You snuck a little FUD into the old Tacticals talk show.
Hey, we helped some people though.
We did. No, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Let's kind of get back to the last question we have and said, we know why we bought our first one. And whether it's been 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 40 years later, so now, over time, has your reason for buying firearms now changed? I'm going to start with Rogue because I know Clover could go on for about 20 minutes. But Rogue, and since you bought your first one to today, can you kind of go through your evolution as to maybe why you're buying guns now versus back then?
I still buy guns for different reasons. Different guns have different meanings to me, and I use them differently. My P320s, I have a few of them. My P320 was originally my carry gun because I wanted to get out of the double action, single action, get back to striker fired. But then my P320 X5 was my competition gun. So I look at purpose of the gun, and that's what I buy for. I almost bought a rifle this morning, just as an impulse buy, and I stopped just because I wanted it. But I look at purchase, what I'm going to use the gun for, and the purpose of it. And there's guns I own that are for mostly I look at them for protection, but there are guns I have that are just my fun guns. I just love going out and shooting some of these guns, and I just do that. So I still think defense is my primary, but I wouldn't say it's my end all be all.
Yeah, no doubt. Tim out there says he has both a Beretta and Benelli shotgun. He likes the Benelli better. The Beretta costs more. So there are going to be Beretta models that cost more than other models of a Benelli for sure. I mean, there's some Beretta shotguns that go for a lot of money. But yeah, I said, I don't know. And honestly, I'm one of those guys that Rogue and Clover were talking about that wouldn't be able to tell the difference in the action. I wouldn't be able to do that. So,
you would if you shot them.
Well, I probably would, but it's not one of those things that I'm looking. Oh, I wonder how. When we're shooting, when I'm shooting handguns, I'm looking at trigger. I can tell a difference between a good trigger and a bad trigger.
Yeah. Say on a shotgun,
the shotgun, something like that, until I get more experience with it.
So on a shotgun, Rogue jump in here. I don't even pay attention to the trigger on a shotgun. Hardly. I mean, it's not even an afterthought. You know what I mean?
So just like, as a comparison, I can shoot in handguns. I can feel a difference of different things. I probably wouldn't be able to do a shotgun.
Yeah, when I pick up a shotgun for the first time, my brain is nowhere thinking about this. I hear what you're saying with a rifle, with a handgun. It's like triggering. You're dry fired, and you're even before you load it and shoot it. Right. A shotgun, a trigger is like so far down the line as far as what I'm concerned about on it. It's like way on down the line, and so you pick it up, and so it's just a different mentality and mindset when you have that experience and you shoot very many of them, right? And so you're focused more on the action and the patterning and how it mounts, how it swings, things like that.
So I like to say shotguns and rifles and pistols. Rifles and pistols are kind of like your beers, and your shotguns are more like your finer whiskeys. Shotguns are almost a little more of the essence of shooting. Like Clover said, how the shotgun shoulders, how fast you can, bring it on the target, how it aims, the pattern of it. There's more essence.
Not aims. Points, not aims.
Points. Sorry, points. I mean, it really is a completely different animal to me. I mean, I just did an Instagram post this week of my father's Browning A5. And that was a gun that just spoiled shotguns for me early on. It's just a great shotgun, and then kind of became a shotgun snob after that.
Speaking of snob, what's up, asshole?
Most people that own and shoot A5s, that happens.
Yeah. Now, Buck out there, I love Buck. He says, I buy guns with high capacity because I don't like to reload. That's a real thing, honestly. That is, if you don't reload, you go find a 21 or 20 plus one capacity.
That's one of the great things. One of the great things about taking kids and grandkids to the range. I'm just saying, teach them how to load.
Yeah, go load that next magazine for Grandpa.
Right. Oh, yeah. Right. And they eat it up. They love it. So they don't,
Oh yeah. So I don't even. I'm scared. I'm not gonna lie. I'm scared to ask Clover.
Yeah.
Because this could take an hour and a half.
Progression
from him. Yeah.
So
I know where you are, but I know you joke around about being a really good bargain buyer.
Maybe.
But there are still things you're looking for.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, there are. And it has to be a bargain and whatever for me to buy it. But, yeah, I mean, there are things I'm looking for. I mean, I'm looking for a Glock 26 right now, for example.
You're looking for – I know. He's getting closer to a 19.
Right. I'm getting there.
I'm closer. He's in the county. Now he needs to kind of see limits, you know.
That's like the most produced, most popular, most prevalent Glock in the world.
Great gun.
And it's like, and talking about the 19, and I just eventually I'll get one. They're out there. They're not going away.
The 26 to me is like the PPQ subcompact, about the same size. Great gun.
Yeah.
Great gun. But I hear you.
Total weird reason why now all of a sudden I want one. So I'll give you the reason, and this plays into a lot of my thinking and everything else. Black Widow. Plain and simple.
There you go.
No other reason except for that's the thing.
Is it because
that came out? That came out. We've been watching Marvel movies, being sick lately and sitting around. We've obviously been watching movies, and Black Widow's the 26, and it's freaking cool. And you know what? I want one.
Is it a little bit of a crush on Scarlett Johansson, or is it the crush?
I've never been a huge Scarlett Johansson fan, but I will say this: if I was gonna have a crush on Scarlett Johansson, it would be with her playing Black Widow. Right,
yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Not in any other movie for sure.
Yeah, I hear you.
But no, there's been a progression. Like, it goes into even the Black Widow thing in the 26. I've been looking into. It plays into this, right? So it started out utilitarian for me. I mean, grew up rural, grew up in the country. It's about, keeping the coyotes away from the chickens, and it's about, this, that, and shooting beer cans on a Saturday evening, whatever. But, more utilitarian aspect.
Sure.
From there, it grew into opportunity. Opportunity bred a situation owning a business and then people not being able to pay you and the barter system and whatever. It's like, I need this worked on. Hey, I've got this rifle, or I've got this pistol, or I've got this whatever, and it's like I'm doing $75 worth of work and getting the $500 gun. It's like, I'll take that trade, and back of my mind is I could always flip that, and get my $75 if I needed to. Thankfully, I've never been in a financial situation where I've had to offload guns. So the collection has grew and grew and grew. But and this from going to Tulsa and just walking the floor with me, the history, right? That's why I'm so big into FUD guns more than anything. I love the history. It's like they only made these for 3 years and they only made so many in this version with this screw, or this was used in whatever, like I've got, the handgun that was, well, not the exact one, but the same model, which is a piece of junk revolver that was used on the attempt against Reagan, right?
Right.
Just I got little models like that it's cool. Especially turn of the century, late 1800, early 1900. There's a lot of stories and a lot of history behind those, and so for me, it's like, that's really cool because I like the story. So, and part of when people come over, we go to the range, you have something, and not only do they get to shoot that and experience that and whatever, and this is a cool firearm. Oh, by the way, did you know in 1913 this was designed because of so and so gangster used this for whatever? You know what I mean? There's a story behind it, right? And so I'm always cognizant and on the lookout of, and again, it plays into the kind of the Black Widow thing, that I'm always like on the lookout of is there something I can pick up, find a deal on that's got some kind of cool story to go with it, right? To add to the collection, not just a random cold, I've got a new gun or whatever it might be, and this is the so-and-so model so-and-so. Well, that's cool, but give me a little, I got to have more, right? At this point, the gun is not enough.
When we were in Tulsa, I guess it was April. Yeah, April. You were looking for a couple specific Marlins to kind of finish out your collection. And you've got all these Marlins that are all kind of the same damn thing, but one has a different color medallion or whatever. For me, I wouldn't give two shits. It's like, whatever, but that's the collection side of things is there's a series of guns, and you've got some from Sears Roebuck. You've got some that were made by X and YZ. And I'm like, bro, isn't a Marlin a Marlin?
Yep.
But obviously
all the parts
got a different story, but they all got a different story,
all the parts interchange.
Be safe, brother. Be safe. But yeah, it was just so funny. I'm like, well, I need the yellow medallion and the blue medallion, not the purple and green. I'm like, what the hell is the fucking difference? Well, the medallion's a difference, Like, oh, my bad.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, I get it. For me, started out defense and competition. For me, it was one of the same because I started shooting IDPA. And so I wasn't doing USPSA or IPSC or whatever. It was going to be IDPA, and it was going to be the 19. And most people know I've got a lot of handguns. And they're all kind of that carry size, that Glock 19 and smaller, because that is one of those things. Concealed carry is a big thing. So most of my guns are that subcompact and all of that size. And so I've got these guns, they're basically the same size. Now they all have different looks and feels to them, different brands and all that. I like different brands for different reasons and all of that. But for the most part, most of mine are going to be that 3.5 to 4.5 inch barrel in my handguns. That's just the way it goes for the most part. Over time, it has progressed into fun. A lot of it's just, I think this is fun to shoot. Bought several guns that, I remember last year I got into several little 22 little kind of MP5 clones and P90 clones and all of this stuff that are in 22 LR. And I bought those simply because they're fun as hell to shoot. I did not buy them for a purpose of self-defense or anything like that. Could they be used for that? Absolutely. But I find myself buying guns now that are going to be fun for me. My next generation of gun buying is going to be. I've decided that I want to get involved with PRS, the precision rifle, precision long range shooting. Because I always thought that was something that you had to shoot at 1,000 yards or 700 yards and all that. And there's not anywhere around here to practice that. I find out that most of them are between 100 and 300 yard shoots in these competitions. And so for me, we were talking about regrets. My biggest regret of not buying something was about 2 years ago. And it was like literally at 2:00 in the morning. Clover and I were talking on the phone, and I found the Savage 110 Stealth BA in 6.5 Creedmoor, and it was for $800, I think. And I didn't buy it right then and there, and it went away. And I have never found it for less than about $900, $950 at this point. And that's my regret. That's still, it's either be that or a Bergara or a Tika. I've limited it to those, one of those three, but probably going to be the Bergara B14 HMR is kind of what I'm looking at, or not the BMR, but the HMR, was it the PRC? I think the PRC Precision Rifle Chassis, I think, is what I'd probably go with. Go ahead, Rogue.
That 110 that you were talking about was the Impulse 5 that I passed up today.
I should have bought it 2 years ago, and I still talked to Clover about this, and I kick myself that I didn't buy that 2 years ago because I haven't found one for that cheap since. And it wasn't one of those things where it was like used; it was new, and they just had it for like $800 on like a little thing. And I was like, "Why the hell? I wouldn't have this issue right now." But
hey, I can vouch. I can vouch for those Savage rifles, man. They'll survive a hurricane and still shoot fine.
They'll survive. They'll survive a storm down at Charlie's place for sure.
They won't look good afterwards, but they'll survive it.
But they will shoot. No, I get where Defense that's saying HK MP5. As far as a gun that, obviously, I'd love to have a Mod Deuce or a minigun or a Mark 19, but we're talking $50,000 for those. And I'm not saying that $5,000 to $10,000 is cheap, but you can find an MP5 for about $10,000 if you look hard enough. I love an MP5. I would love an MP5, but MP5 was not used in Die Hard, by the way.
No, it was not. Fake news.
Fake news. Yep, there you go. You just said it right behind it. Yeah.
I always like throwing that out there when somebody says Die Hard and MP5. It's like, yeah, it wasn't an MP5.
Die Hard made an MP5 commercially famous.
It did, and it wasn't even an MP5.
John Jay says, is PSA working at? No, they are done with that. The guy that was the brain power behind the PSA MP5 no longer is working with PSA. So that design probably never going to happen at this point. Let's see here. William out there says, okay, sure. Have fun, William. Thanks for spamming. Appreciate you. Over on the Facebook side, which no one's over there, so it really doesn't matter. Let's see here. Rich White says a $1,200 SKS. That happened. They were all over the place in Tulsa in April. Like I walked by and I was like, how much that SKS? $1,200. I said, it was like $1,300 a lot of them more. And I said, you knocked the one off of that, and it's still overpriced,
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that was real. $1,200 SKSs all day. Now I'm not saying they sold them, but everyone had $1,200 SKSs. I was like, you guys are outside your minds.
Right.
Let's see here. William. He's spamming, so I'm not even going to acknowledge him anymore. Have fun on Facebook you're the only one over there. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, like I said, for me, it's kind of gone into having fun. And now there are going to be things that I do buy that, when I definitely want that. I want that. But I'm to the point now. I'm never going to be to the point where Clover is by far, but I'm to the point now that I've got everything that I really need except for the precision long.
Well, with that attitude, you never will. Oh my God.
But what I'm saying is I've got everything that I need. Now it's going to be stuff that I want. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to start getting guns that I want. And it's going to be one of those where, you know what? I can go and get this, that, or the other, or I can save up a little bit and go get that because I've wanted that for a long time. I'm going to start getting to the point now where I'm going to start, having fun with guns and getting the ones that I want at this point. So, that's kind of where I am right now.
Speaking of MP5, you do have the GSG.
I do have the GSG. It's great. No. And guns I'll never have. No, I'm not saying that I have all the guns that I need. I'm saying I'm to the point now where I've got something for everything that I could possibly need to use for at this point, except for the long range. I could still push my 5.56s out to 1,000 if I really wanted to. But what I'm saying is I've got everything that I need as far as practicality. So now I get to go and have fun with the stuff that I want. And that's really what I'm looking forward to.
Yep.
I'm going to block that user real quick. Thank you for playing. Hope you enjoy. There's a nice parting gift on your way out, William.
Well, you can do that on the Facebook side.
From stream, I don't know if on the Facebook. I can do it on the StreamYard side, which means I might not just won't see his comments. He might just be making one. I just won't see him over here, so that's great.
Cool.
Now Snob says, "I need a bunch of guns," contrary to what his wife said. I think we all fall into that category.
My wife does not care how many I get and buy. Never has.
I think my wife has more than I do
now. Mine does.
Seriously, I think I do.
I can tell you that I have lost several to my wife. I can tell you that much.
Yes,
well, so when I had my FFL, my wife also had my login to Gunbroker, and there's been a few calls I've had at my day job of, hey, I kind of bought something I didn't think I was going to. But she also collects. Yeah. Well, and she's got a very big affinity for Berettas, and she's got
already.
Like she has a Beretta 1915. It was the first pistol they ever produced. I mean, she's got some really classic guns that she's collected, and she's got an amazing collection. But I think she's got more guns than I do right now.
It happens. I will never have to worry about my wife having more guns than I do. Never, ever, because she'll never own one. It's just the way it is. Let's see here. Rich says my wife has one right now. She has the Ruger American and 450 Bush, but she likes to think that if Smith & Wesson 627 is hers too. I get it. But yes, I am talking about 6.5 Creedmoor. Buck asked her 6.5 Creed. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. I've looked into, what is it, a 6.5 PRC? Is that what it's called? 6.5 PRC? Precision rifle cartridge, I think is what it would be.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm looking 6.5 PRC and a 6.5 ARC.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing this for competition. I'm not doing this for hunting and all that. So now let me ask you this: would a 6.5 PRC go through a 6.5 Creed? I'm assuming it would, right? It's just a different cartridge, or would it fire through a 6.5 Creed barrel?
No,
I don't think so.
It's its own separate one.
Yeah,
I think it's its own thing. Yeah.
Okay. That might be difficult because I don't think that's a very common.
It's
thing.
not. I would think you probably want to stay with the 6.5 Creed because of when ammo comes back around. I mean, 6.5 Creed ammo was cheap before things got crazy.
It is, and it's coming back down. It's definitely coming back down. What about 6.5 Grindle? What do you guys think about 6.5 Grindle? I've heard a lot of good things about it.
It's okay, but it's not. It doesn't have near the punch or distance as the 6.5 Creed.
What
or
about 6
PRC.
millimeter Creed? What about 6 millimeter Creed?
Oh, that's a pretty tough one. My thoughts on the 6 is I don't think the 6 has quite enough weight to carry and buck wind like the 6.5 Creed at a distance. That would be my thoughts on the difference between the 6.5 and the 6 and a Creed. So again, I would go 6 or 6.5.
We have proven that I hit 1,000 yards with, if I'm lying, Clover will correct me. I'm not kidding. At least a 30 mile an hour wind, crosswind.
Yeah.
So I know that 6.5 can hit 1,000 yards with a 30 mile an hour crosswind.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep.
I would really love my 2 favorite guns as far as like long distance chassis guns and all of that I would love to have one day. I love a Macmillan 338 Lapua, and I would love to have a Shytac. Those Shytac rifles are great, but they're like what, 10, 12 grand. I'm not gonna do that.
Shytac,
but those are great rifles. And I know Macmillan's not a great, but my very first, I would say, designated marksman rifle, we'll call it, that I shot was a Macmillan 338 Lapua, and I loved it. Was amazed by it. So that's kind of like the dream gun that I would love to have one day. I would have zero use for it, but that would definitely be one that I want, not that I need. Let's see here. Defense Dad says, I tell them that they're breaking the first rule of Fight Club. First rule of Fight Club? Don't talk about Fight Club.
Right.
That's all I can give a month ago. Again, I hadn't seen it forever. And great movie. What a great movie. Maybe the best Brad Pitt movie. I think it's by far the best Brad Pitt movie.
Yeah.
Great movie. But yeah.
Did you see his question up? Did you see his question up about 2 above that one?
Defense Dad? Oh, no, I did not see that. So what's the panel's go-to answer for when people who don't know better ask them, so how many guns do you own?
That was his answer. We don't talk about
first, okay, that makes sense. I thought he was talking about the wife. About the wives owning guns and all that. I thought that was no, I mean, that's a great answer, honestly. I would just say it's really none of your business, but I mean, that's I don't know.
Yeah.
Depends on what I have. It depends on who it is, but if I don't know, you're like, I have I don't know. I don't remember.
That's my go-to answer for pretty much everybody. And it's not because I don't want to tell you, it's because that's an honest answer.
Yeah. Well, that's for you. It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, it is for me at this point, but my memory doesn't have to go as deep as yours.
Assuming, do you want me to tell you how many I think I have? How many I actually have, or how many that I have minus potentially ones that are misplaced or missing?
Which you have found a couple recently. Yeah.
Right. I think I've got tabs on all of them looking
for. Yeah, but you found one after you found the Jimenez.
I found one I wasn't even looking for.
But you didn't even know that you were missing.
Yep. Sure did. Yep.
That happens. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. First world problems, man.
First world problems. Going at 2 hours, had a great chat. It's been fun tonight. Can I start giving you a few minutes, Rogue, and let you talk about where people can find you, what kind of projects you got working on, and all of that jazz. You've got the floor.
Yeah, you can reach me on YouTube. It's the Rogue Banshee, or Instagram, also the Rogue Banshee. I have a red dot video coming out. It's there's going to be more of videos of this one. This is just kind of the overview of the Crimson Trace 1250. I'm filming the actual shooting content now. I've had that out to the range 3 times now. So yeah, keep an eye on the channel for some more Crimson Trace stuff. Other than that, I got the podcast on the first Monday and third Monday of the month. So yesterday I just released one, and it was on the 10 2A myths that drive me nuts.
Ooh,
so
I like it.
Yeah, and it's at the end of that one is something that people don't get to see much of. I get a little bit of a rant on the end of that because I kind of get a little pissed sometimes. But yeah, go check that out. And thanks for having me on. It's always fun getting on. This was a fun one tonight. I really like kind of talking about this type of stuff.
No, it's just one of those things where I never thought about it. I was asked that question, and I honestly, when I sat there and said, I've never really thought about why, and it's changed over the years. Obviously, it's changed a lot over the years, but you don't really think about where you are now and say, well, man, my first gun. I bought my first gun because I fell in love shooting in boot camp. And so 2 days after getting home from boot camp, I went and bought a rifle. That's literally that's the reason why, you forget those things sometimes,
Yeah. I mean, and I've seen stories like this when I was in FFL where people were talking about it. I had a customer, he was anti-gun. And then he joined the military, got deployed. He's like, I don't understand why civilians want guns. These civilians are shooting at me. Why do people want guns? And then he got out of the military and he started shooting competition. And he's like, this is why people want guns. Mm-hmm. This is fun. And yeah, he kind of got disowned by his family because they're all anti-gun. He's very pro-gun now. Mm-hmm. But it's just kind of a cool subject just to sit down and kind of chill out and talk about.
Yep.
So, thanks for having me.
Going on. Yeah, man, thanks for coming on. And with all the bullshit that's going on, and everyone knows I don't like drama. I stay away from drama. I try to live my life with the least amount of drama in it. I'm going to let all that other bullshit be talked about by everybody else. Have fun with it. Do your thing. I have nothing but love for you. Not going to do it. Let's have some fun talking about some cool shit. And then that's what I do. I don't like getting involved. I won't get involved until I have to get involved or something that I really want to get involved. But it takes a lot for me to want to get involved with that. So, and one of the things I do want to discuss a little bit before we go is not discuss, but just remember everybody. It's crazy. I know for a lot of us that are my age and all of that, Saturday marks the 20th anniversary of 9/11. 20 years. There are high school students out there that were not alive for 9/11. And I think now this is where our parents were with the Kennedy. Like, in 1983 was a 20-year anniversary. And that's crazy to think about. But like, this is the 20th anniversary of 9/11. I don't know if anniversary is quite the word that I would want to use, but it is. It's the anniversary of 9/11. So just remember where we are right now is a country. A lot of it dates back to 20 years ago, good or bad. A lot of the bad stuff that we're going through right now dates back to 9/11. But I will say this, as bad as things are, as divided we are as a country, and as fractured as we are as a country right now, the most awesome thing I've ever seen in my life is how this country was on September 12th, 2001. I have, in my lifetime, there was about a month from the whole month of September into October, I had never seen, it lasted a few months probably, but I'd never seen the patriotism, the kindness, the neighbor loving each other type thing. I mean, I've never seen that since, and we might not ever see it again. The feeling of what America, it sounds bad, but I think that the way that America was on September 12th is what the forefathers had in mind in the 1700s. Looking out for one another, protecting one another. Little pissed off at the world right now. Little chip on our shoulder. I kind of think that that's, and unfortunately, it took a lot of people dying for us to get there. The whole point of that is I would love to get back to where we were September 12th. We were a much nicer, forgiving, peaceful country within our own borders. Now, we hated the fucking world at that point, and we should. That's how we should always be. Take care of our own, hate everybody else. And I miss that. I miss that. So yeah, be on the lookout, stay vigilant. There could be some crazy shit that happens this weekend. We don't know. Just be vigilant, be on the lookout of weird shit happening in your area and all that. That's my little rant. I think we have to, Ro, just by, I don't know if you knew this or not. We have to give a little piece of money to Roll Call 219 anytime we say rant, because I think he had kind of owns rants with rants and raves on Wednesday nights. But no, it's all good. Clover, bring you in here. Thanks for coming on, my buddy. Congratulations on 10,000 subscribers. Had a really good time hanging out with you last Friday night doing your giveaway. I know you got a bunch of stuff going. There was no Pew Pew news last night. What's up with that?
Yeah. Like I said when we first come on, it's kind of here and there with me, right?
Yeah, I know.
So unfortunately, so yeah, it is what it is. I don't think at this point I'm gonna die, so that's good. But yeah, I did get out today. I mean, I got out a little bit yesterday and a little bit today. The YouTube channel members and the Patreon patrons, I put out a little video because I got so winded multiple times out on the range doing some work that I sat down and just kicked up, threw the phone on the tripod and just like, I'll just record a little video to those guys. And so, yeah, I did a little work today out on the range and stuff like that. So I'm working on getting around and building back up to be able to get some stuff done. Super behind in the queue as far as reviews go and things like that. The one thing I would point out though, what do we've got? The comment period for
today's the last day or tomorrow the last day? I think today's the last day.
Pistol braces, and I can't remember if it's today or tomorrow. Jump over on gun websites, and there'll be links.
The links in the description. The links in the description right here underneath this. It's the links.
Oh, you got it in this one. Nice. So there you go.
I put them all of them. Yeah.
Oh, so there you go. Easy enough. Yeah, jump down there and double check it. But if you haven't left at least 24 comments, go leave some more for sure. Make sure they're all different and that sort of stuff. But yeah, let's ramp up those numbers regardless of what they are. I don't know what they are, but they're rookie numbers. We can do better. So let's do it and let them know that, we mean business. We don't want them jacking with our stuff. Even though pistol braces, in my opinion, are stupid. Okay, I'm done.
I get it. I think that I would say the vast majority of us all would say that bump stocks are stupid. Didn't want them messing with that though. Right. It's just one of those things. It is what it is. But yeah, get out there. The links in the description. Send as many as you want, as many as you can. I did something different this time with this one. We had talked about different ways. We've been on many podcasts and shows and chats about how to write the letters to ATF. And I did something different. I sat down and made a list of all the reasons why they shouldn't mess with braces, right? And I think I had like 11 of them. 11. And instead of writing one big one with 11 different paragraphs, I wrote 11 different letters. Each one on a specific comment purpose.
Yeah.
Instead of, because if you're writing a big long thing, you might lose someone after the first 200 words. Where if you can write 11 different ones at 200 words each and just be succinct and direct about one particular topic.
Yep.
If you're thinking out there, I've got 5 or 6 reasons why, well, then write 5 or 6 letters, write 5 or 6 comments to them and all that. I'm not saying you have to, just learn, you learn doing it a lot. And unfortunately, the last few years, we've had to do it a lot. So that's what it is. Yeah. But yeah, get over there, check that out. Check out Rogue, check out Clover. What do we have going down this week? I can't remember what I've got scheduled coming up for Friday. Honestly, I forgot. I've got something coming out Friday. It's going to be a firearm related video. Can't remember what it was. Oh, I do remember what it was. You guys will enjoy it. Yeah. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys, live. Had a good time. Great comments out there. Good chat. If you're watching this in replay or listening to podcasts, it doesn't have to end now. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and utilize the comment section below. If you're out there in podcast form, wherever you are, and you're liking what you hear, go ahead and follow us. Leave us a review. It'd be helpful, especially if you're on Apple. Give us a good review and all that, whatever. And that does help a lot for analytics and for pushing and all that. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, hug one another. Remember 20 years of 9/11 and the war on terrorism. Don't ever question over the last 20 years any of the servicemen and women that have done their job. Don't ever question why they did it. They're questioning themselves right now, especially ones that served in Afghanistan. I've had to talk to several of them. Understand that the military's pointed and told to go in a direction, and they go. They don't get to decide the policies. So a lot of people are questioning what's happened in Afghanistan, which they should. They should question it a lot. Just don't ever question the pride and the reasoning why the military was over there. We went over there for a specific reason. It turned into a lot of different reasons. But don't ever blame the military for that. Blame the administration. Blame the politicians. Blame everyone else. Those men and women, they're told where to go. They're pointed in a direction, and they go with it with all their might blindly. They literally walk through hell blindly. So, yeah, thanks for everyone out there. Appreciate you guys. Love one another. Remember what it was like September 12th. Remember September 11th, and let's try to duplicate September 12th. That feeling we had as America, I would love to see that for a lot of reasons right now. We'll see you soon, guys. Take care. Semper Fi.